So glad to see you all this morning. The leadership team wanted me to talk this week about prosperity, tithing, and those types of things, money in other words. And it's a little bit difficult sometimes for me to talk about money, and as I researched different church blogs and so forth, I found that a lot of ministers are challenged about talking about money. So I framed it this way. I came up with a topic about prosperity means belonging. So we'll be exploring what that means. Here's what I said in the blurb that went out to all of you. We're existing in a vast universe of interbeing, intelligence, and interconnection, and yet somehow on planet Earth we've got this separation myth that leads us to feel that we're alone in an unfriendly world. But here at Unity, we keep talking about this is not the truth. Our sense of prosperity and well-being is intertwined with our sense of belonging. We at Unity are setting about to heal the separation myth and creating a sense of belonging in loving community, and thereby remembering a tribal economics of restorative justice and agape-type love. John O'Donohue, you know how much I love him, this Irish writer, theologian, who said, "The hunger to belong is not merely a desire to be attached to something. It's rather sensing that great transformation and discovery become possible when belonging is sheltered and true." Let me read that again. The hunger to belong is not merely a desire to be attached to something. It's rather sensing that great transformation and discovery become possible when belonging is sheltered and true. Don't you think that's what we're setting about to do here at Unity? And I just want to mention that as we're talking about the separation myth, that I'm so proud of Nisha because she made a film called The Separation Myth. And she's looking at how the separation myth got created here in Oregon in our history and how we are setting about to heal that. So one of these weeks I'll show the trailer of her film, The Separation Myth. Right now I'd like our drummers to come up again. And we can have 6 people, so there were our heartbeat. And this is the mother drum that Lavelle brought to us to share with us. And we just want you to use this as a time to settle into this environment, to feel your heartbeat in tune with everyone else's heartbeat here, and to feel our heartbeats in tune with our Mother Earth. So use this as a time of settling into a deep listening and welcoming spirit here in our presence. Great Spirit, we give thanks that we can be here today. We're thankful for this drum, the ancient symbol of our heartbeats, belonging and community. Thank you that we can come here to Unity in Ashland and feel that we're loved, that there's love that needs to be given, that there are needs, there's giving and receiving taking place. We're so thankful for this opportunity to know one another intimately, and to therefore know what needs to be given. Come and be with us now and seal this container, this sacred place, with your love. Minister to each person here today, and may no one go away without their needs being met. We ask this in the name of the creator of this universe, who created it to be a friendly place. Amen. We're so happy today. Thank you, our drummers. We're so happy today to have these wonderful musicians with us. As you can hear, they're from all over the world, and Chad has brought them together with his wonderful, you're going to hear it, it's just the most fabulous, new kind of spiritual music. I'm thrilled. I listened to all of his things online, and we're in for a real treat. So the first song is Live Love.
Thank you so much, Nora. How y'all doing this morning? So yeah, my name's Chad Wilkins, and this is Trevor Hollingsworth, Mark Lee. We're really happy to be here with y'all this morning. Is that guitar coming through, Letterman? Yeah, cool. We're gonna start with a song called Live Love, and I'll teach you all the chorus. It's really simple, it goes like this. Live, love, love, live, live, love, long live love, live, love, love, live, live, love, long live love. Can y'all do that? Live, love, love, live, live, love, long live love, live, love, love, live, live, love, long live love. Well, you guys sound great. Live simply, trust, give, look within, be here now, so balance. Namaste, happy days, let it go, stay gold, be still, lay your edge, find your peace now, breathe. Live simply, trust, give, look within,
drawing from the great texts of spiritual teachers from all around the world, I tend to draw on Native American texts and Buddhist texts and Rumi, Sufi poets, Islamic texts. So today I have some sprinkling of that too, but I'm also going to draw on Judeo-Christian texts, which I don't do as often. But I found these verses that, first of all, some of them were ringing through my mind from my upbringing that relate to this topic of prosperity and belonging, and how there's something in our souls that longs for connection with the divine, with the beloved, connection with one another. That is, when you think about our hunger for something, our hunger and thirst after something, that is about the most core thirst and hunger that we have in our beings. So I've asked three of our wonderful people to come up and read this little litany of short verses from all the way back from Isaiah, the book of Isaiah and Amos and the Psalms, and then the New Testament on through the book of Revelation, just short quips that are about this longing.
From Isaiah 26:9. At night my soul longs for you. Indeed, my spirit within me seeks you diligently.
From Psalm 73, verse 25. Whom have I in heaven but you, O my beloved? And besides you, I desire nothing on earth.
From Psalm 119, verse 81. My soul languishes for your salvation. I wait for your words of life.
From Isaiah 55, verse 1. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come, buy, and eat your fill. Come, buy wine and milk without money and without cost.
From Amos 8, verse 11. Behold, days are coming, declares the Lord God, when I will send a famine on the land, not a famine for bread or a thirst for water, but rather for hearing the words of truth.
Psalm 63, verse 1. O God, you are my God. I shall seek you earnestly. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh yearns for you. In a dry and weary land where there is no water, I stretch out my hands to you. My soul longs for you in this parched land.
From the book of John, chapter 4, verses 13 through 14. Jesus said to the woman at the well, everyone who drinks of this water will thirst again. But if you drink of the water that I give you, who drinks of the water that I give you shall never thirst. The water that I give will become inside of you a well springing up to eternal life.
And from Revelation 21, verse 6. Then he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give to the one who thirsts from the spring of the water of life without cost.
Well, you hear something going on here about sacred economics. There's this thirsting. There's a thirsting after the words of truth. There's a famine in the land of the words of truth. Can you relate? Have you been looking on Facebook lately? Have you been seeing the political statements going on that make your soul thirsty for words of truth? And they relate to economics. There's something that ancient people knew that has to do with our souls longing for something that's necessary on planet Earth, that is not just material goods, but it does have to do with people hunger and thirst being satisfied in a very deep way. So let's keep exploring this mystery as we go along here. I'm going to have Chad and his friends come up and play this next wonderful song for us. As they're setting up, the song is called Spirit of Peace. And I just want to use it to invoke the spirit of peace in our nation right now. Let's just use this as a calling out for peace in all the different places where there's turmoil right now. So, spirit of peace.
I'll probably need the guitar a little bit louder on this one, just so you know. And I invite everybody to please feel free to sing along if you catch on to the words, and feel free to go wherever Spirit takes you as well.
that spirit of peace, I'd like you to close your eyes with me. And take a deep breath. Feel yourself grounded here in this safe and beautiful place that we have created. We're so blessed to feel peace. And right now, Great Spirit, we know that you have created a universe in which there's a harmony of the spheres. There's a great peace. They've even said there's a God particle out there at the core of it all, creating this great interbeingness and interconnectedness and peace in this universe. There's an abundance of it. There's a prosperity of peace. There's enough peace. So right now, we together, as this small group of humans, imagine peace rippling out, falling down from heaven to earth, coming through us. Peace, enough peace for all the places on earth that need it. So right now, with me, I'd like you to imagine some place that you know about that needs peace. Some people that you think of that are needing peace. And would you call them out with me? Like I want to call out that group of people in Chicago that were so upset about what was being said by Donald Trump, that they were rioting and so angry and upset. And I want to call out peace. Peace to come in the midst of righteous anger and the seeking after justice. That those feelings would lead into the creation of a greater peace. What would you like to call out? What kind of peace can you imagine?
Israel and Palestine.
Yes, great peace in Israel and Palestine. Syria. Washington, D.C. Ferguson.
Pine Ridge and Rosebud reservations in South Dakota.
Yes.
Country.
Peace, great peace, the spirit of peace.
In all of our hearts.
All of our hearts.
Between my daughters.
Yes. In our family lives in Ashland, our families in Ashland, our families spread out throughout the United States, families' lives in Medford and all of the Rogue Valley. We pray for peace in our homes.
North Korea.
North Korea, peace. Iran, peace. Tibet. People who are having their homes foreclosed. Hungry.
China.
South Sudan.
The whole earth.
Just feel it rippling through you, through your heart's desire, through your longing for spirit, the spirit of peace. Let it flow through you in this blessing of the whole planet. I'm going to read a John O'Donohue prayer of blessing. Find it here. It's worth the wait. Thank you, John O'Donohue. He's passed on into the heavenly realms now, and I'm sure he's hearing us when we pray his prayers and sending down prayers of blessing, just like our mothers and fathers and grandparents are. All of the saints in the heavens are praying for us on planet Earth right now. And these are the words that John spoke, and we take them, John, as our prayer today. Blessed be the longing that brought you here and quickens your soul with wonder. May you have the courage to listen to the voice of desire that disturbs you when you have settled for something less. May you have the wisdom to enter generously into your own unease, to discover the new direction that your longing wants you to take. May the forms of your belonging, love, creativity, and friendship be equal to the grandeur and the call of your soul. May the one that you long for you. May your dreams gradually reveal the destination of your desire. May a secret providence guide your thoughts and nurture your feelings. May your mind inhabit your life with the sureness with which your body inhabits this world. May your mind inhabit your life with the sureness with which your body inhabits the world. May your heart never be haunted by ghostly structures of old damage. Let's pray that for our nation. May the hearts of our people never be haunted by ghostly structures of old damage. Yet may we come to accept our longing as a divine urgency. May we know the urgency with which God longs for us. Aho. I'm going to have our musicians come up again, and during the time while we're singing this next song, could you sing the Be a Friend song? Yes. You know, the sense of peace spreading out all over the earth. I was lucky to watch the Michael Moore movie the other night, where he was traveling out and seeing in other nations what he wanted to bring back to the United States, you know. And other countries, according to that movie, they've got it together in a lot of ways, you know. And so Bhutan is one of those countries that we've had the Rinpoche from Bhutan here, and they've declared their gross national product to be happiness. And we were blessed with the Rinpoche's presence here just a few weeks ago, and you know, when he was here, he gave us a lot of white scarves that are called katas. And whenever he comes from his land, he brings gifts to us. I love that custom, you know, of him blessing us with many gifts when he comes. He gave me little necklaces and scrolls and the big tanka and scarves that he brought to all of us. And so he's coming especially to bless us in our heart's desire to bring an earth temple through into our environment here and to bring low income or affordable housing through in Ashland. And so while we have this song sung to us about being a friend, we want to appreciate the Rinpoche and Bhutan's friendship to us. And they want us to come over there next spring, a whole group of us, so that they can show us their hospitality and their land. And they gave us some extra scarves. They sent these, they didn't want anybody to be left out, and they felt bad that they had not had enough scarves for all of the volunteers that helped us, so they sent extra scarves. And so while we're hearing this wonderful song about being a friend, we just want to thank the Rinpoche for being a friend to us, and we want to thank one another for our friendship to each other, because this somehow does fulfill the longing of our souls, to know that we have friendship with people all over the world, that we have this deep friendship with one another. So as this wonderful song is going on about being a friend, Kathy's going to, first of all, call out your names and have you come forth right now to receive your scarf of thanks from the Rinpoche. And then we'll be giving them to you, each one of you, as the song is going on, okay?
These were volunteers that couldn't come on the Sunday night service, so these are some extra people. So Patty Browning,
Just come up and stand up here, okay?
Marta Quest, Jenny Dean, Rick Rhodes, a lot.
Where will we be in the end? Will we still be someone's friend when their love has all been spent? Will we still have love for them? Will our hearts be open when their life still stay lonely all the while. Don't be afraid, be a friend. Let love capture you again. Let this love take you by the hand. And we will go to unknown places, rediscovering the traces of what was lost when we decided to insulate ourselves. What's the key to success in life? What's the me and the how and the why? What's the reason for all this strife? When we all have one blood, when we all have one love, when we all have one breath, when we all have one life, when we all have one death. Don't be afraid, be a friend. Let love capture you again. Let this love take you by the hand.
can see why I wanted him to sing that song in particular. Be a friend. We've decided that we're opening up our hearts. That's the direction we're going. We are not closing down our hearts. We are not seeing the enemy out there. No, we're opening up our hearts. And I'm so thankful to be living in a town like this where a whole bunch of us are really actively doing things to open up our hearts. And as you know, I was asked to be the religious representative on the Ashland City of Peace Council. Our unity way of being and consciousness really resonates with what the City of Peace Council is trying to bring forth here in Ashland. And when I met with them yesterday for a strategic planning session to discuss practical ways of helping Ashland to be a beacon of light, a place where people look to us as a peaceful environment, I was reminded of my daughter's film, The Separation Myth, because there's a separation myth that is going on planet Earth and amongst us and here in the United States that causes people to act in different ways than what the City of Peace is trying to promote. So we've got some debunking of the separation myth to keep working on, right? And I'm thankful for Nisha's film, because there's hard things that need to be brought forth from our knowings, things that have been squelched, things that have not been allowed to be known. And when we don't come forth with honesty about these things, then they can repeat themselves. And I'm afraid that's what's happening in part of the sectors of our society right now. In the Michael Moore film, he talked about in Germany how they have signs all over the different street corners like this. The Jews were taken away from here and taken to Auschwitz. Here's where this person was picked up and taken away. Here's where this happened. Signs that people can read that are out there, and everybody talks about it, and the children are educated in their schools about it. So we have a long ways to go to be speaking up about what happened here on this soil, where the state of Oregon was set up in their constitution to be a white-only utopia. And people of color there were sundown laws where if they were seen on the streets, they were put in jail. In the 1970s, they still existed. The Ku Klux Klan was still the mayor walking down the street in the parades. So we have a history here that has caused a separation that we need to, reveal the history and do things for restorative justice. And that's one of the reasons why we want an earth temple. Because the earth temple symbolizes the coming together of all different religious faiths, an omni-faith. It symbolizes the healing of Native American people here. We will be wanting to invite them in and be part of it. The healing of any of the divides between white and African American, white and Chinese people, that all of the different separations that have taken place. We see the earth temple as being a symbol of healing for all peoples and even of all sentient beings too, of a kind of spirituality that's talking about our interconnectedness and interbeingness as being at the core of it all. But the part of it I want to talk to you about today is something that Jesus said to us, reminding us that if we're wanting to bring the kingdom of heaven on earth, he said, the least amongst you shall be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. St. Francis of Assisi, picking up on this, wanting his followers to learn how to bring peace on earth or to bring the kingdom of heaven on earth, you know what he did? He took his followers to sit at the feet of the lepers, who were the most outcast and despised people of his day. So every morning they would get up and they would walk all the way to the lepers' village and sit there and ask them, what should we do today? So that kind of deep listening to the least of these, instead of trying to wipe them out, expel them, not want them in our country, whatever, all that approach, a deep listening. What if we learned generosity from those who have little? Speaking of prosperity consciousness, what if we turn to the least of these to learn about generosity. So I heard about this man named Nipun Mehta. He's a young business entrepreneur from Seattle who's of India heritage. He grew up in the United States, but he went back to visit India with his wife, and they visited the Gandhi ashram. And while there, he and his wife were so touched by the generosity of the peoples that they decided to do a cleansing and healing experiment for themselves. They decided to go about the countryside with no money and to receive whatever they were given. Receive whatever they were given to eat, receive wherever they were given to stay. So they set out on a pilgrimage like this. And Nipun said, we met one man named Naru, and he said, please come to my house for a meal, because to have a guest in my house is to welcome God into my house. And when they got there, they found out that he had to go around the village and borrow food to have them there. But he believed so deeply that he would be blessed for giving to them. And then a grandmother who had to walk 4 hours to get water, 4 miles to get water, gave them her water. And then a fruit stand vendor who only had a few pieces of fruit on his stand offered them the whole basket of fruit. And then Nipun, his beard was getting longer and his hair was scraggly, and a barber said, come in here, I want to give you a haircut and give you a shave. So everywhere they went, people reached out to them in tremendous ways to serve them, just because they were common humanity. So they experienced the debunking of the separation myth. One of the common myths about economics is that first you go out and earn money and get a lot of it, and then you can be generous, right? No. Do we have to have a lot of things before we can give? What if having things to give is not the most important part of giving? Nipun Mehta experienced that one after another, these people who didn't have much were bestowing kindness on them. And he said it upended a lot of our paradigms. A common myth that we have about giving is that you have to have enough yourself before you give. That's the only smart thing to do, right? Nipun tells another story of a woman he met who was a cleaning lady in India. She was named Shakubed, a single mother, and she made very little money. She was very poor, but he was talking to her about his generosity explorations, and she wanted to be able to give generously too. So she heard this story about Gandhi, how he lost this little scrap of a pencil, and he was looking all over his room for it, and his aide came to him and said, Gandhi, you are the father of this country. You don't need to be finding this little scrap of a pencil. Here, I have a whole box of new pencils for you. And Gandhi said, no, I must find that pencil, because it was given to me by a child with great love. So when Shakubed heard that story, she thought, I'm a maid at the school. Maybe I can collect pencils with great love. So she went around every day culling through the garbage cans and the trash bags at the school, painstakingly finding all these little discarded pencils with the erasers worn out and so small. And right as Nipun and his wife were leaving to go back to the United States and back to their corporate consultancy work, Shakubed came knocking at his door and handed him this bag. It was pink plastic and all torn and scruffy, and he looked inside, and there were hundreds of small pencils. And she said to him, take these to your businessmen. And she knew that he got the message, that he was to take back to his rich business associates the message that it was not the stuff, it was the love around the stuff. So it's not the things. It's our opportunity to give something. She found these pencils so she could wrap her love around them. In India, they may know this. It's what happens inside that matters. This inner transformation that comes from having opportunities to give is what matters. So what is this inner transformation that happens when we give generously? There are two elements to it. You know, scientists tell us that when we give, our physical body actually benefits from it. Our immunity gets better, we live longer, we're happier, the endorphins are released in us. Matthew Norton, a Harvard professor, did this experiment about money, about giving money, and he studied what happened when people gave money to other people. And he discovered through all the tests that he did that people really did feel happier when they gave money to other people. So then he decided to test a bunch of skeptics about it. So he found people who said to him, no, I do not like giving money to other people. I don't want to give money to other people. And he had them give the money too. And lo and behold, all the scientific experiments on their brains and everything showed they were much happier when they gave money too. And then another scientist, Robert Edmonds at UC Davis, found that there are literally biochemical reactions that come in our brains when we're feeling gratitude for receiving too. So there's a physical, manifestation of transformation. But then the second way that transformation occurs in us around generosity is that it affects our minds and our souls. So if you think about it, giving is a generating of an orientation outwards towards others. And that brings a stillness within, a peace, a contentment. So in order to give, we are generating this energy of contentment within. You hear what I'm saying about this? Just the act of generosity makes us interrelated to one another, and we're no longer just focusing on what we can get. I think a lot of times when we want to relax ourselves, we might go and do retail therapy. It's a way of reaching out to get things to relax us and to bring us peace of mind. But this study was showing that the peace comes actually when we generate this energy inside of us that's thinking about others. Another big insight that they got was that everyone can give in some way. I have one thing, and I give you one thing, then I don't have it. That's a zero-sum economy, if we think of it that way. But love isn't like that. In love, you can give and give and give, and the benefits of it just keep increasing. If I have a smile, and I give that away, it brings a smile from somebody else, and that spreads the smile on. It's generative. So this giving of love is kind of paradoxical. Giving more leads to having more. Giving gifts from the inside leads to more and more abundance. So this is a different kind of economics. There's another story of a man who was riding the train in Boston. And I've lived there, and I know it can be kind of dangerous when you're walking home at night after you get out of the train station. And so as he was walking down the sidewalk, a young man came up to him with a knife and said, "Give me your money." And so he took a deep breath and he reached in and he gave him his whole wallet. And he said, "Here's all my credit cards and all my money in there. Here, take it." And so the young man was hurrying away, and then he called out to him and he said, "Wait a minute, it's cold outside. Don't you want my coat?" And so the young man came back and said, "Yeah, give me your coat." And then he took it off and he kindly put it on him and helped him get his arms in it and stuff. And then they were looking at each other. And he said, "You look really hungry. Let's go out to eat." And so he agreed. And they went out to a really nice restaurant, and they talked and got to know one another a little bit. And then the man says to him, "Well, I'd love to pay for your meal, but you've got my wallet." So the kid brings out the wallet, and he hands it back to him, and he says, "Here, take it back." And so this guy pays for the dinner and everything, and then he had a $100 bill in his wallet, and he takes it out and he gives it to the kid. And he says, "I just want to ask you, would you be willing to give me one thing now?" And the kid said, "Sure." He says, "Would you give me the knife?" So, giving more can lead to peace. There's another story of a man in India who was paralyzed in his legs from birth, and so he was an outcast. Like he, was not looked upon as a favored one. But he came up with a way to be giving. He grew tulsi plants, and tulsi in India is a very sacred plant. And so when he would hear people fighting, he had to crawl. He didn't have a wheelchair, he just had to crawl. And so he would get his tulsi plant and crawl to the house, knock on the door, and the people would be fighting inside. And he said, I brought a sacred tulsi plant for you. And so they would stop for a minute and say thank you. And he said, I have a song that I could sing for you. And so sometimes they let him sing the song, sometimes not, but then he'd go back and check on them maybe a few days later when they weren't fighting and say, how's the tulsi plant doing? So he found a way to bless people, even with all of his difficulties, and over a period of 18 months, he gave away 900 tulsi plants. 900 connections like that. 900 opportunities to find out who the people were in his community and to love them. Martin Luther King said, everyone can be great because everyone can serve in some way. He didn't say millionaires can be great because they can, he didn't say you have to have a college education and you can be great. There's no conditions on it. All the social change leaders like Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Jesus, they knew that what we're talking about with generosity and abundance is this inner thing, this inner transformation that takes place first. Now you can understand better what Gandhi was saying when he said, be the change you wish to see in the world. It's about the transformation inside first, and then the giving out from that place that changes the world. For Nipun and his wife, he said it changed the trajectory of our big company and how we thought we were making an impact on the world. So after he got back, he set up this this part of his company that it's called, let's see if I can find it here, Service Space. They started a gifting economy incubator called Service Space. And he says a lot of people think that we're taking this too far, but now we've just been freely giving things out from this loving place inside of us, and it's been going great for 12 years now. They just keep creating more and more ways to gift people. So they created this online portal just for good news, and he put a lot of his workers in his system to work on gathering all the good news, and that became their job. And they didn't charge anybody out there online for the good news, just giving out the good news. And then they printed out thousands of smile cards, and all of his employees would take the cards out into the community and do a random act of kindness and leave the card, and it says on it, you can't give directly back to me, but you can pass it forward to somebody else. So passing out the smile cards. And then they decided to create the Karma Cafe. And people would come in and have a beautiful India-type meal, and then the waiter would bring their bill over to them, and it would say, 0. You owe 0. And the people were shocked, and then they're told, your meal is free, and if you want to pay it forward for someone else, you can, to keep the chain going. So there's a whole slew of these kind of experiments going on now all over the United States. There is good news going on, And he said that he got this idea of the Karma Cafe from this man that he met in India who was a rickshaw driver. And, when you, I don't know if you've been to India, but you get in the rickshaw and lots of times you're afraid they're not going to take you where you want to go, and you're afraid they're going to rip you off and charge you more money than they should. And in a way, taxis in our big cities can be like that too. But he got in the carriage of this rickshaw driver, and he said to him, when he got to his destination, there's no charge. And he was shocked, because it's just not the way it is with rickshaw drivers. And he said, well, why is this? And he said, because that's the way I choose to run my business. There's no charge. And then he didn't right away say to him, you can pass it on by giving forward, but as he got out, he said, you could pass it on by giving forward to somebody else if you want to, but no pressure. And so then he did give him something to pass it forward. And then he got talking to him more. And he said, well, do you keep records? Like, can you really make it with your family needs and everything by just giving your taxi rides away? And the man said, you know what? It really balances out. Because some people just go and they don't give me anything, but some people are so touched by this that they give a lot more. So I keep it all on records in the book here, and it all balances out. And then he said, do you want to see another book that I keep? And he opened up another book, and inside of that was the story of what people said to him when he asked them the question, how did you feel when you were riding in my rickshaw and then when I gifted you the ride? And in the book was the story of people whose hearts broke open, whose tears started to flow, it changed their lives, and they made new vows of how they were going to live their lives because they had ridden in his rickshaw. And he said, this is why I do it this way. The other evening I was at one of our wonderful circles of 8 groups, and we got talking about how do we feel a sense of belonging, and how do we trust that there's a place for us to be and to give and to, experience this kind of a trusting life and this gifting kind of economy. And Kim told a story that really struck me, that she was longing, she had a heart's longing to swim with the dolphins over in Hawaii. And so she was out there in the water, paddling about, looking for the dolphins and feeling that longing, where are the dolphins, where are the dolphins? And then her partner was up on the deck, I guess, looking over onto the water, and from above, she could see that all the dolphins were all around her in the water. And she was right there in the midst of the dolphins. So I think that's a good reminder for us that there are opportunities to give and to belong and to be in community all around us. We just have to open up our minds and hearts and see things a little bit differently. Charles Eisenstein, he's the one that's written Sacred Economics, and he's been here speaking several times, and he said that the gifting economy is, like the people from India were saying, not so much about the substance of what you're giving, the stuff that you're giving, it's really about the connections that are made. So he says that in tribal economies, that it's not at all common for anonymous giving to take place. That's something that our culture has invented in recent times, because he said the giving was about knowing one another and about knowing what the needs were and about flowing the resources and having a big harvest and then sharing it, and everyone getting to know one another in a great harmony. So it wasn't about anonymity. So finding ways to give. I want you to tune into your life right now and just think about your life for a minute and how you have longed for ways to give, how you have found ways to give, who has given to you. Just get in touch with that for a minute. What has been your longing of your heart of ways to give? Has it been through music, through poetry? Who has opened doors for you to give your gifts? We've got a lot to be thankful for with all of the ways that we have had to give and receive. All my life, that's always what I've wanted to do. I remember ever since being a little kid that I looked for kids in the neighborhood that might need something that I had that I could give them, or I'd invite them to our family because we always had a lot of food around. And I remember a time when I was working in the battered women's movement, and we didn't have enough money to pay everybody, and so we all got together and we talked about who in the group was a single mother and needed money more, and who didn't. And those of us that didn't need it as much gave our salaries to somebody who didn't have as much. So there was a sense of the stuff wasn't so important. It was more about that we were having this tremendous opportunity to transform lives. Right now, I'm blessed to have many, many people to give to. I've got more opportunities to give in any one day than I can take advantage of. It's a huge blessing, and so I need helpers. I need to find a way to dole out the opportunities to give. You know, to talk to you and speak to you about what your unique desires of your heart are, what ways that you want to be belonging, so that you can have more ways to give too. So that's what we're trying to do here in our committee structures, in getting together in our circles of 8 groups. We're trying to find out who you are and give you this sense of belonging and deeply knowing of one another, so we can truly feel the joy and the transformational power of giving and of generating this love with one another. When the Rinpoche was here, he talked about if you want to build an outer temple, you've got to build the inner temple first, right? So I think that the building of the inner temple is what I'm talking about here. That if we are generating within ourselves this feeling of wanting to give to the world, and of generosity, and of looking for all the places that we can give, then we are building the inner temple. We are creating this sacred place from within, where the spirit of the universe, which is the spirit of all love and all peace and all abundance, comes to dwell in us and really transforms our thoughts and our perceptions and our creative ideas of how to give. And then we are the temple. We are the kind of temple that this planet needs right now. So like Martin Luther King said, every one of us can be great because we can serve. You don't need this or that. We don't really need anything to be able to create this generosity, this giving. All we need is a heart full of grace and a soul that's generated by love. Thank you all for being those kind of people. I'd like our wonderful musicians to come up again now, and this is our opportunity to take our offering. And as they're getting ready to sing, I just want to say to you, go ahead, and those who are taking the offering, you can get the bags and start in. But we are stepping out into a leap of faith and a time of generating from within our midst here more money so that we can build an earth temple. And so in future weeks, we're going to be taking special offerings just for the earth temple. We have our regular business to keep going here, you know, and then we want to be having this faith and generosity to realize we can do this. We can manifest what's needed for our earth temple. So many of you are on the committees of the earth temple and getting excited about the land searches and the building processes and so forth. And there's a sense of energy that is being generated in us for a bigger gift that we can give to the world. That's really what the earth temple is about. So we ask you to give generously and see what happens here in our midst. Is the Give Thanks song a good one for them?
This song is called Give Thanks, and I invite you all to sing this melody with us. It's very simple. It goes like this.
Oh evening, just as the trees in the fall drop their leaves. I will fall on my face, I will drop to my knees and give thanks for the light of the day. I give thanks for the sun on my face. I give thanks for the beautiful way. How I deserve nothing, yet I have received grace. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Just as the sun bows down on the sea, just as the flower folds up in the evening, just as the trees in the fall drop their leaves, I will fall on my face, I will drop to my knees and give thanks for the light of the day. I give thanks for the sun on my face. I give thanks for the beautiful way. How I deserve nothing, yet I have received grace. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. So help us to love one another. Show us the way of the heart. Teach us to give thanks and praise every day. Just the same. We open our hands, we open our hearts, we open open our hands. We open our hearts. We 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 open our hands. We open our hearts. Open our hearts. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. We open our hands. We open our hearts. We open our hands. We open our hearts. We open our hands. We open our hearts. We open our hands. We open our hearts.
My spiritual friends, let's remember together today that grace is the source of everything. Let's moisten our lips and say the name of the beloved over and over again with praise in our hearts. We will become the spring ground. We will become the water flowing. We will become the ones whose mouth is given its gold yellow stamen like the wild roses give to the wind. Let your heart flow with living waters as you fill with wisdom, your heart full of love, and there will be no more thirst on planet Earth. So it is.
So it is.
Let's rub our hands together and bless our offering.